She's not coming. She makes my ex uncomfortable. My boyfriend told his family at Christmas. I'd cooked for 3 days. His ex was there wearing my apron. I didn't cry. I sold his gaming PC, his sneaker collection, and his Bitcoin. $31,000 total. When he came home, my name is Elizabeth, I'm 31, and I cut hair for a living. If you live on the east side and you've ever walked out of a salon feeling like, okay, I actually look hot, there's a decent chance I had my hands in your hair. I'm good at what I do. I pay my bills on time, I don't have rich parents, and I'm the kind of person who remembers your kid's name and your dog's birthday. In my boyfriend Daniel's family, though, I'm Liz, the girl who cuts hair, and Daniel's girlfriend who's good in the kitchen. Not a person, a utility. I didn't fully see it that way until last Christmas, the one where I spent 3 days marinating meat, baking pies, and trying not to burn out my cheap oven because Daniel wanted to show my family how you do holidays, babe. His words, not mine. By the time Christmas Eve rolled around, my tiny apartment smelled like butter, garlic, cinnamon, and stress. There were roasting trays on every surface. I'd done a full day at the salon, came home, and went straight into chopping vegetables. My feet hurt so much I'd kicked my shoes off hours ago and forgotten where they ended up. Daniel was on the couch, controller in hand, yelling at his game. "Can you at least peel the potatoes?" I asked, wiping sweat off my forehead with my wrist. He glanced over. "Babe, I'm in a ranked match. After this, I swear, you're way better at this stuff anyway." "This stuff is feeding 20 people," I muttered. He didn't hear me, or pretended not to. Still, I told myself this was love. I told myself it was fine that I'd bought most of the groceries with my card because my paycheck hit first. I told myself his Bitcoin savings would pay me back someday. I told myself his family would finally see how much I did. I even packed my own red apron. The one with the embroidered E in the corner my coworker got me as a joke. It made me feel like a real grown-up chef, not just a tired hairdresser with too many Tupperware containers. Christmas morning, we loaded everything into his beat-up sedan. I tucked a towel around each dish like they were babies. Daniel threw his backpack and his new sneakers in the trunk. "Can you make sure nothing falls over?" I asked, holding a tray of lasagna like my life depended on it. He shrugged. "It'll be fine. Mom's gonna freak when she sees all this. She keeps telling everyone you're a keeper." That sentence used to make me warm inside. On the drive to his mom's house, his phone buzzed nonstop. Family group chat. I could see the little notification banners popping up. Mom, Aunt Linda, Mom again. Zoe's on her way. Zoe, his ex. I stared at the name and felt that familiar little twist in my stomach. "Why is Zoe in the family chat?" I asked. Daniel's jaw tightened. "Because she's still close with my family. Don't start, Liz. It's Christmas." "Did you invite her?" He rolled his eyes. "I didn't invite her. Mom did. She's basically like family." "Cool. I just spent 3 days and half my paycheck cooking for an event where my boyfriend's ex was basically family." His phone started ringing. His mom. He hit speaker and balanced it on the console while still driving, because apparently traffic laws don't apply on holidays. "Hi, Mom," he said. Her voice came through loud and excited. "Danny, where are you? People are already here. Zoe's helping me in the kitchen. Are you bringing Elizabeth or is it just you?" I opened my mouth to say, yes, obviously he's bringing me, but Daniel beat me to it. "She's not coming," he said casually. "She makes Zoe uncomfortable." For a second, I honestly thought I'd misheard him. I turned my head slowly. He was just driving, like he hadn't just lit a match and thrown it at my chest. His mom laughed. "Oh, thank God. We don't need drama today. Okay, just hurry up and don't forget the dessert your friend made." The dessert, my dessert. The 3 trays of food on my lap and at my feet and in the back seat. My mouth went dry. I whispered, "Daniel, what are you talking about? I'm right here." He hit the button to take her off speaker and brought the phone to his ear. "Yeah, okay, Mom, see you soon." He hung up and tossed the phone into the cup holder. I could feel my hands shaking under the foil trays. "What was that?" I asked. "It's just for today," he said, like we were talking about the weather. Zoe freaked out when she heard you were coming. She still has anxiety from how things ended between us. You know how she is. Mom doesn't want drama. I took 3 days off clients to cook for this, I said. My voice sounded weird, like it belonged to someone else. I paid for half the groceries. I'm literally sitting here holding your family's lasagna. Yeah, and I told Mom you made it, he said. She just thinks you're dropping it off. I stared at him. You're asking me to drop off food like a catering service and then go home alone for Christmas. He put on that reasonable voice he uses when he wants to win. Babe, don't make this into a thing. It's not personal. Zoe's in a delicate place, and my mom's already stressed. We can do our own Christmas tonight. You'll like that better anyway, just us. My chest felt tight. The car suddenly felt too small. In my head, I saw a different Christmas. Me at his mom's table being introduced as the woman who took care of all this, chatting with his cousins, feeling like I belonged. Instead, I was the delivery driver. He pulled up in front of his mom's house. Cars everywhere, laughter spilling out when the door opened, warm light. It looked like a movie. Come on, he said, hopping out. Help me carry this in, then I'll take you back. I don't know why I didn't scream. I don't know why I didn't dump the lasagna in his lap. I just moved. I picked up the trays. I followed him to the door. His mom opened it with a big smile. There's my boy. Oh, and the food. Perfect, bring it in. Zoe's finishing the gravy. Her eyes slid over me like I was an Uber driver. Not a hello. Not a Merry Christmas, Elizabeth. I stepped into the hallway, balancing the weight in my hands. From the kitchen, I heard a girl laugh, familiar and too loud. A second later, Zoe popped her head around the corner. She was wearing my red apron, the one with the little embroidered E. Hey, Danny, she said, beaming. Your mom says I'm a natural in the kitchen. She looked right through me, then did a double take at the apron strings, like even she hadn't realized. Oh, she said. Cute apron. Something inside me went very, very quiet. Daniel took the lasagna from me and headed for the kitchen. Told you Liz's recipe would save Christmas, he said. Liz's recipe. Not Liz, just the recipe. Okay, I said, my voice flat. I'm going home. His mom frowned slightly, like it inconvenienced her. You don't want to stay? It might be awkward with Zoe, you know how she is. Daniel stepped back into the hallway. Babe, I'll be home tonight. We'll do our thing. Don't be dramatic. I walked out without answering. I sat in his car for a minute, hands gripping my knees, staring at my reflection in the windshield. My eyeliner had smudged. There was flour in my hair. I looked like the unpaid staff who'd been told to use the back door. On the drive away from the house, my phone buzzed. Instagram. His sister had tagged him in a story. I tapped it. There was Zoe standing in my apron in his mom's kitchen, holding up a tray of my roasted potatoes. Caption: Zoe saved Christmas dinner. We love you. I didn't cry. Something else happened instead. The thing about that moment is it didn't come out of nowhere. People always hear the headline, she sold his gaming PC, his sneakers, and his Bitcoin, and think I just snapped over one Instagram story. I didn't. I'd been slowly erasing myself for 3 years. I met Daniel when I was 28 and freshly out of a messy relationship. He was a regular at the bar next to my salon, and he came in once because the girl at the bar said you're a wizard with fades. He sat in my chair, all big brown eyes and easy charm. So, what do? I asked, combing through his overgrown hair. I'm between things, he said. Working on streaming full-time. Got a crypto side hustle too, building something. At the time, that sounded kind of exciting. I'd grown up around guys whose whole personality was their job at the factory. Someone with projects felt different. That first cut turned into, wanna grab a drink after your shift? Which turned into, I made you a playlist, which turned into him practically living at my place within 6 months. I was renting a small 1-bedroom then, nothing fancy, but it was mine. I'd clawed my way there with 9-hour days at the salon, plus side gigs doing hair for weddings on weekends. Daniel showed up with 2 duffel bags, a box of tangled cables, and a beat-up PlayStation. Just until I figure things out, he said, kissing my forehead. You inspire me, you know? You've got your own place, your own thing going. I want that. I liked being that for him, the stable one, the adult. When he said he couldn't contribute much to rent, at first, I said it was fine. When his mom forgot to invite me to his sister's birthday dinner because she didn't know if we were serious yet, I told myself not to take it personally. When I met Zoe for the first time, it was at his mom's house at Easter. We were standing in the kitchen, and his mom was stirring a pot like she was auditioning for a commercial. "Liz, this is Zoe," she said. "She and Daniel dated in high school. We kept her, though." She laughed like it was the funniest thing in the world. Zoe gave me a tight smile. "Oh my God, you're the hair girl," she said. "Daniel's mom never shuts up about your cooking." Not about me, about my cooking. Daniel brushed it off later when I told him it felt weird. "You're reading too much into it," he said. "They've known her forever. You're new. Just give it time." So I gave it time. I gave it time while I did free haircuts for his cousins, because we're broke right now. I gave it time while his mom texted, "Can you squeeze in Aunt Linda on Saturday? She can't pay full price, but she'll post you on Facebook." Spoiler, she never did. I gave it time while Daniel's crypto side hustle turned into hours of him staring at charts on his phone, yelling, "It's dipping and it's going to the moon," but somehow never turning into actual money. One night, about a year in, he sat me down like he had a serious proposal. "Look," he said, "if I'm going to really commit to streaming and trading, I need a proper setup. My laptop is trash, my mic cuts out, my viewers are complaining." "How many viewers do you have?" I asked. "Like 10 right now, but that's not the point." He pulled up a spreadsheet. He'd priced out a full gaming PC, triple monitors, fancy chair, stream deck, the works. Total, $4,200. I laughed. "With whose money?" "That's the thing," he said. "If we use your credit card for the PC and the chair, I'll pay the monthly payments with my streaming and crypto income. It's an investment. In us. In our future." He said, "Our future," like a magic spell. At that time, I just paid off my last student loan. I just started to actually see my savings account move up instead of just hovering near zero. I hesitated. He squeezed my hand. "Babe, you know I'd do the same for you if I could." I believed him. So we ordered the PC and the monitors, and the stupid RGB lights that made our small apartment look like a spaceship. For a while, it was kind of fun. I'd come home from a long day at the salon, and he'd be live, talking into his mic, laughing with strangers in the chat. His face lit up when people donated $5 or $10. "See?" he said once, showing me his streaming dashboard. "It's growing." But the payments came out of my account every month, not his. When the landlord raised the rent, "Because the neighborhood is improving," Daniel said, "I'll pick up more shifts at the bar." That lasted exactly 2 weeks before he said the manager didn't vibe with him. When gas prices went up, I paid. When his sneakers fell apart and he needed new ones, I put it on my card because we can't have you looking broke on stream. Half the sneakers in his precious collection said my name on the receipt, not his. It wasn't just the money, though. It was the way his family talked about it. At Thanksgiving, his mom said, "We're so proud of Daniel, you know, chasing his dreams. It's hard for men these days." I was standing right there with mashed potatoes in my hands. "What about Liz?" his sister asked, half joking. His mom waved her hand. "Oh, she's fine. Hairdressers always have work. Anyway, Daniel's crypto is going to pay off big." I caught Zoe sitting at the edge of the couch, scrolling through her phone, smirking. In the car home, I said, "Do you ever correct them? When they act like I don't contribute anything?" Daniel tightened his grip on the steering wheel. "Why do you always have to make it about money?" "Because it is about money," I said. "I pay most of the rent, the utilities, your car insurance, your PC. I told you I'd pay you back." "When?" "When it hits." "When what hits?" He stared straight ahead. "You just don't get it." That became the pattern. Anytime I brought up finances, I was negative or unsupportive. Anytime I said I couldn't afford something, he'd sulk until I figured out how to afford it anyway. Meanwhile, his family treated me like the help. "Liz, can you do a quick blowout for your cousin? She has a date tonight." "Liz, can you bring those garlic potatoes you made last time? Zoe's are never as good." "Liz, can you come an hour early to help set up?" One time, his aunt actually handed me $5 at the end of a long family gathering, after I'd done 3 haircuts and washed dishes. "Buy yourself a coffee," she said. I stared at the bill in my hand like it was a joke. Daniel laughed when I told him. "She meant well, babe. Don't be too proud." It wasn't pride. It was humiliation. The Christmas before that Christmas, we had a smaller version of the same fight. We were at his mom's house, and I was in the kitchen making gravy while Zoe, of course, was perched on the counter texting. His mom turned to her and said, "You know, Zoe, if you'd stayed with Daniel, you'd be the one doing this." She gestured at me and laughed. Zoe pressed her lips together like she didn't know where to look. I felt my face go hot. Daniel walked in at that exact moment, kissed me on the cheek, and said, "Don't roast my mom, babe. She's just joking." Except she wasn't. After that, I told him I didn't want to be around Zoe anymore. "It's not about jealousy," I said. "It's about respect. If your mom wants to keep her in the family, fine. But I don't have to be there for it." He sighed like I'd asked him to amputate a limb. "Okay," he said. "We'll talk boundaries." But we never actually did. He just got better at hiding things. Group chats I wasn't in, dinners I forgot to hear about, photos that popped up later on social media. So when I saw that Instagram story of Zoe in my apron, holding my food, being praised like she'd saved Christmas, it wasn't just a random story. It was the punchline to a joke they'd been telling about me for years. The joke where I did all the work and someone else got the credit. The joke where I paid and they treated me like I should be grateful to even be there. The joke where my boyfriend looked at me and saw a free cook, a free landlord, a free investor, a free hairdresser, not a partner. On Christmas afternoon, alone in my quiet apartment, I put my phone face down on the table. My hands weren't shaking anymore. They were steady in a way that scared me. I walked into the bedroom and looked at the giant glowing PC, the triple monitors, the expensive gaming chair, the row of limited edition sneakers lined up under the window. Every single thing I saw, I could picture the bank statements in my head. My name, my card, my money. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the setup like it belonged to a stranger. And for the first time in 3 years, I thought a dangerous thought. What if I just stopped letting them use me? Daniel got home just after midnight. I knew because I heard the deadbolt rattle, and then his stupid loud laugh before the door even opened. He stumbled in, smelling like wine and perfume that wasn't mine. "Bob," he called out, "where's my Christmas cuddle buddy?" I was sitting at the kitchen table with my laptop open and a stack of papers next to me. Rent agreement, credit card statements, receipts. I'd spent the evening printing them, highlighting things, reminding myself I wasn't crazy. He walked in, cheeks pink from the cold and the alcohol, scarf half hanging off his neck. There was gravy on his shirt. He froze when he saw me. "Oh," he said, "you're still up." "Yep," I said. He tossed his keys into the bowl, missed, and let them clatter to the floor. "You missed a great dinner," he said, towing them into the bowl. "Zoe really stepped up. Mom was impressed." I stared at him. "Zoe stepped up?" I repeated. "Did she also step up on my apron and my recipes?" He rolled his eyes. "Don't start." I gestured to the chair across from me. "Sit down." He hesitated. "Can't this wait until tomorrow? It's late, babe. We're both tired." "It's already waited 3 years," I said. "Sit down." Something in my tone must have gotten through because he actually did. He dropped into the chair and slouched like a teenager called into the principal's office. "What is all this?" he asked, nodding toward the papers. "This," I said, sliding the top page toward him, "is the lease for this apartment. Whose name is on it?" He glanced at it, frowning. "Yours." You know, my credit got messed up with that hospital bill. We talked about this. Right. My name. My lease. I picked up the next stack. And these are the receipts for the gaming PC, the monitors, the chair, the mic, and all 3 accounts you used to buy games. He squinted. Why are you being weird? Read who bought them. He skimmed. It's your card, but... My card, I said. My payments, the delivery email, the account registration, all in my name. Babe, we talked about this, he repeated. It's our stuff. You're making it sound like I paid for everything and you just showed up, I said, because that's what happened. His jaw tightened. Wow. Merry Christmas to you, too. I ignored that. I slid another paper across. This is your precious Bitcoin wallet. You remember when we opened that exchange account? He shifted in his seat. Yeah, obviously. Who verified their ID? You did, he said slowly. Whose bank account is it linked to? Yours. Right. I folded my hands together to stop them from shaking. So, legally, whose Bitcoin is it? Mine, he snapped. We agreed it's my savings. With my money, I said. I transferred $500 a month for a year because you said it was your future. That's $6,000, Daniel. $6,000 that never went toward our rent or our bills or anything that actually kept us alive. It's an investment, he said, voice raising. You don't get it. That stuff is going to be worth way more. I checked tonight, I interrupted. Do you know how much is in there now? He leaned forward, suddenly interested. No, how much? $31,000. His eyes widened. Seriously? Seriously. Instantly, his whole posture changed. He sat up, grinning. See, I told you it would hit. Babe, we're set. We can upgrade the PC, maybe get a bigger place. I held up my hand. We are not doing anything, I said. Because here's the thing. Tonight, I watched you and your family turn me into a delivery service so your ex wouldn't feel uncomfortable. I watched you let Zoe wear my apron and take credit for my food. I watched your mom literally say, "Thank God she's not coming," like I was the problem. That's just how they are, he said quickly. You know my mom. She doesn't mean anything by it. She means exactly what she says, I replied. And so do you. He scoffed. So what? You're mad that Zoe cooked? She was just trying to help. She was nervous you'd show up and cause drama. She was wearing my apron, Daniel. So what? My voice dropped. So what? He threw his hands up. Liz, you could have stayed if you wanted. You left. That was your choice. You told your mother I wasn't coming because I make your ex uncomfortable. I snapped. You made me into the villain in a story where I literally did all the work. His face flushed. I was trying to keep the peace. You're so sensitive. There it was. Sensitive. Dramatic. Negative. I'd heard those words so many times they'd started to sound true, but tonight they just sounded lazy. I'm not sensitive, I said quietly. I'm done. With what? He demanded. With this, I said. I gestured around. With subsidizing your dreams while you and your family treat me like I'm staff. With being the one who pays and cooks and cleans and then gets left out of the pictures. With you keeping your ex in your life like a spare girlfriend while I'm the one actually building a life with you. He laughed once, disbelieving. You're overreacting. You're not going to throw all this away because of one Christmas. It's not one Christmas, I said. It's every birthday, every holiday, every bill, every time your mom calls me the hair girl instead of your partner. It's 3 years. So what are you saying? He asked. You want to break up? Over this? Really? Yes, I said. His mouth fell open. He hadn't expected me to say it out loud. You're not serious, he said. I am, I said. You can stay with your mom, or with Zoe, or with whoever wants to keep funding your startup as long as they don't show up in the family group chat. I'm done. He pushed his chair back so hard it squeaked. You can't just kick me out. I live here too. You crash here, I corrected. Your name is not on the lease. You don't pay half the rent. You don't even pay your own phone bill on time." He stared at me, breathing hard. "You're crazy," he said finally. "You're actually insane. My mom warned me this might happen. She said girls like you always show their true colors eventually." Something in my chest cooled at that. "Good," I said. "I'm glad she finally saw something real." He paced the kitchen, running his hands through his hair. "You'll regret this," he said. "When that Bitcoin doubles and I cash out without you. When my stream takes off. When I move into a real place with someone who believes in me." I smiled, and it shocked both of us. "About that Bitcoin," I said. "We need to be clear." He narrowed his eyes. "What about it?" "I put that money in," I said, "from my account into my verified wallet under my name." "And we agreed it was mine," he said. "We agreed a lot of things," I replied. "Most of them involved me paying for your life while you pretended we were partners." "You touch that account," he said slowly, "and we have a real problem." The old me would have backed down right there. The old me would have said, "Of course, I'd never, it's yours," and then cried in the shower while he gamed in the other room. This version of me just nodded. "Good to know where we stand," I said. He grabbed his keys again. "I'm going to my mom's. When I come back tomorrow, you better have calmed down." He slammed the door on his way out. The sound vibrated through the apartment. I sat there for a long time, staring at the closed door, listening to the echo of his footsteps fade away. Then I turned back to my laptop. I opened the crypto exchange first. I want to be clear about something, because people get weirdly hung up on it. I did not steal from Daniel. I reclaimed what was mine. The exchange account? In my name. The bank account? Mine. Every deposit into the Bitcoin wallet was a transfer from my checking account that I could trace. The PC, the chair, the sneakers, all purchased by me, with my card, shipped to my address for his benefit. That night after he left, I sat there for a full 5 minutes with my cursor hovering over the sell button. $31,000. My hands didn't shake. I clicked. The next morning, the money was in my linked account. My account. I'd half expected the sky to crack open, for someone to burst into my apartment and tell me I wasn't allowed to do that, for a siren to go off. Nothing happened. The only sound was the hum of the gaming PC in the bedroom. I stood up and walked in there. The RGB lights glowed in rainbow waves like the machine was breathing. I unplugged it. Over the next 2 days, between client appointments at the salon, I turned into a one-woman moving company. I listed the gaming PC, the chair, the monitors, the microphone, and all the accessories on Facebook Marketplace and a couple of gamer buy/sell groups online. I took clear pictures. I described everything honestly. I set fair prices. The stuff sold fast. Apparently, there's always someone happy to grab a nearly new streamer setup for a discount because some guy messed around and found out. The sneakers took a little longer because I had to verify what each pair was worth. Turned out 2 of them were limited drops he'd begged me to buy at resale value. Because this is an investment, babe, they only go up. I checked the resale apps. He was right. They went up. By the end of the week, after marketplace pickups and sneaker meetups in busy public places, I had another $7,800 in my account. I paid off the remaining balance on the credit card that had the PC on it. I paid off the smaller card that had most of the sneaker charges. I put 3 months of rent into a separate savings account labeled Emergency No Men Allowed. Then I emailed my landlord. "Hi, due to a change in personal circumstances, Daniel will no longer be staying here. Please remove him as an authorized occupant." He replied, "I never had his info on file." Right, of course. While all this was happening, Daniel was texting. First it was, "Have you calmed down yet?" Then, "We need to talk like adults." Then, "My mom says you owe me an apology." I didn't answer. Then, on day 3, "Why isn't my stream setup turning on? Did you touch something?" I was at the salon, foils in a client's hair, when that one came through. I put my phone face down and finished the appointment. By the time I got to my break, there were 8 more messages. "What the hell, Liz?" Where are my monitors? Did you move my stuff? Answer your phone. Then a call from his mom. I let it go to voicemail. She didn't leave one. Instead, she texted me in the family group chat I'd mostly muted months ago. Mom, Elizabeth, we need to talk about Daniel's things. His things. I took a screenshot of my bank statements with the PC and Bitcoin purchases clearly highlighted. I didn't send them yet. Instead, I sent a single message, me. Daniel will get his clothes and personal items when he arranges a time to pick them up. Everything else was purchased by me and has been handled. The chat exploded. His sister. What does that mean? Zoe? Wait, what's going on? Mom, you cannot just sell my son's property because you're having a tantrum. That is illegal, young lady. Aunt Linda. Oh, dear. I stared at young lady for a second and almost laughed. I was older than Daniel. 2 minutes later, my phone rang again. Daniel this time. I answered. What did you do? Was the first thing out of his mouth. I ended the sponsorship, I said. You're welcome. This isn't funny, he snapped. My PC is gone, my chair is gone, my sneakers are gone, my Bitcoin is gone. Your Bitcoin, I repeated. The Bitcoin that was bought with deposits from my account, in my name, in my wallet. We agreed it was mine, he yelled. And we agreed I was part of your family, I said. How'd that work out? He sputtered. You can't just, Liz, that's 30 grand. That was my future. No, I said. That was my money sitting in a digital box while I pulled doubles at the salon to make sure the actual bills got paid. You could go to jail, he said. My mom says this is theft. Your mom also says I make Zoe uncomfortable, I answered. Her judgment is questionable. For a second, he was silent. I could hear voices in the background, his mom yelling something, Zoe asking what was happening. Put me on speaker, I said. He did. Elizabeth, his mom said immediately, her voice sharp, you return what you took from my son right now or we'll be calling the police. I have never been so disappointed in you. You've never been anything in me, I said. You've never even bothered to learn what I do beyond the hair girl. But sure, let's talk disappointment. How dare you, she snapped. We treated you like family. Family? I actually laughed. You let your son tell you I wasn't coming to Christmas because I made his ex uncomfortable, I said. You let that same ex stand in your kitchen in my apron and take credit for my cooking while I sat alone in the apartment I pay for. That's not the point, she said. It's exactly the point, I said. For 3 years, I have paid for your son's life. I've paid for his rent, his food, his electricity, his fun toys, his crypto gamble. I did it because I thought we were building something together. Instead, you encouraged him to treat me like an employee he doesn't even pay. That's not true, Zoe said quietly in the background. Zoe, I said, did you know whose apron you were wearing on Christmas? Silence. Did you know whose recipe you used? More silence. I'm not saying this to fight with you, I said. I'm saying it because I'm done being invisible while other people wear my work like it's theirs. Daniel cut in. So that's it? You ruin my setup, steal my money, and what? Expect me to just walk away? I expect you to come get your clothes, I said. You have until the end of the week. After that, anything left goes in the donation bin. You're insane, his mom repeated. No decent girl would behave like this. Maybe we misjudged you. You judged me just fine, I said. You just thought I'd never judge you back. Liz, we can work this out, Daniel said, tone shifting like he'd finally realized yelling wasn't working. Just move the money back. We'll talk. Couples counseling or whatever. You know I love you. I thought of him in the car saying, she's not coming. She makes Zoe uncomfortable. I thought of his mom saying, thank God, like I was some kind of cockroach. I thought of the little $5 bill in my pocket after doing 3 haircuts for his aunt. No, I said. You love having someone sponsor your lifestyle. There's a difference. You're going to die alone, his mom hissed. Better alone than at your table, I replied. And then I did something I probably should have done years ago. I left the group chat. Then I blocked her. Then I blocked Daniel. Over the next few weeks, the silence was loud at first. I'd come home from long days at the salon and instinctively glance toward where his PC used to glow. Now there was just a plain desk with my old laptop, a plant, and a candle. I moved his sneakers out. I moved his hoodies into boxes. The apartment slowly stopped looking like our place and started looking like my place again. At work, I took extra appointments, but not because I had to, because for the first time, the money I made actually stuck around. I upgraded my scissors. I bought a new blow dryer that didn't sound like it was dying. I started putting aside a little each week into a studio fund because my boss had mentioned the empty space next door. "You'd be great running your own chair," she said. "Your clients would follow you anywhere." It hit me that I'd been investing in Daniel's dreams while ignoring my own, so I took a meeting with the landlord for that space. When he asked if I had savings for the deposit, I said yes. Because I did. Because I'd sold a gaming PC, a pile of sneakers, and a pile of fantasies about a future that was never actually mine. Daniel tried a few more times from different numbers. A text from an unknown contact. "We need to talk about what you did." Blocked. Another. "You ruined my relationship with my family." I didn't reply, but I thought, no. They ruined it when they chose Zoe's feelings over my existence. Zoe found me on Instagram and sent one long message that started with, "I'm sorry for my part in this," and veered into, "But you didn't have to go nuclear." I read it. I didn't answer. I wasn't interested in being the villain or the hero in their story anymore. I was busy writing my own. It's been almost a year since that Christmas. I still have the red apron. The embroidery is a little faded from being washed so many times, but it hangs in my new studio now, on a hook by the back door. Yeah. I opened the studio. It's small. 2 chairs, 1 shampoo sink, a tiny waiting area with a thrifted couch. But it's mine. The deposit came from that emergency no men allowed account. The first 3 months of rent did too. Sometimes I stand in the middle of the empty floor between clients and just breathe. No one here is using me. When I make food for people now, it's for friends who actually say thank you and don't hand my apron to someone else. When I buy something expensive, I ask, is this for me or for somebody else's dream? If it's not for me, the answer is no. People ask if I regret selling Daniel's stuff. I don't. Do I regret staying as long as I did? Yeah, a little. I regret all the times I laughed it off when his mom made jokes at my expense. I regret how small I let myself become so he could feel like a provider when he wasn't providing anything. But I don't regret the moment I chose myself. The funny thing is, once you start enforcing boundaries, you realize how many people benefited from you not having any. Clients whose appointments always ran over without paying extra. Friends who only called when they needed a free haircut. Family members who assumed you'd pick up the tab because you don't have kids. I started saying no in small ways. No, I can't squeeze you in at 10 p.m. No, I don't do free wedding hair. No, I'm not available to cook for your entire family on my only day off. Every time I said no, I felt a little bit more like myself. The girl who sat in the car on Christmas morning holding lasagna while her boyfriend told his mom, "She's not coming," felt like a stranger for a while. Now, when I think of her, I don't feel shame. I feel protective. Because she was doing her best with what she thought love was. Sacrificing, bending, being easygoing, not making a fuss. If I could talk to her, sitting there in the driveway, watching her apron walk away on another girl's waist, I'd tell her, "You are not crazy. You are not overreacting. You are not too sensitive. You're being disrespected, and you're allowed to leave." That's the moral, I guess. You are allowed to walk away from people who treat you like a service. You are allowed to stop funding someone else's life while they pretend you're lucky to be there. You are allowed to cash out of a bad investment, whether that's Bitcoin or a boyfriend. The night I sold everything, I thought it was revenge. Now I see it differently. It wasn't about punishing Daniel. It was about finally paying myself back. And I'm not done. There are still parts of me that want to prove something, to show his mom and Zoe and everyone else that I won. But most days, I don't think about them. Most days, I think about the client who cried happy tears because I fixed a bad haircut, the kid who brought me a drawing that said "Best Hair Lady," the quiet moments in my little studio when the light hits just right and I remember what it feels like to belong in my own life. I don't know if Daniel ever rebuilt his setup. I don't know if his Bitcoin ever went to the moon. I don't care. I'm not his bank anymore. I'm not his cook, his maid, his free therapist, his PR girl. I'm Elizabeth. I'm a hairdresser. I own my studio. I pay my own rent. I make my own lasagna on holidays and eat it with people who look me in the eye. And I will never again sit in a car outside a house full of people who supposedly love me and be told, "She's not coming. If you want me in the room, you say my name. If you don't, that's fine. I have my own table now."